So this recipe is from cookiesandcups.com. And you will need, to start off, 1 cup of flour, a packet of rapid rise yeast, kosher salt, milk, water, butter, and honey. So you're gonna have 2 sets of ingredients. The first thing I'm gonna do is put flour in a bowl, just 1 cup to start off with. And then I have a half a teaspoon of salt, kosher salt. I'm sorry, that was sugar. A tablespoon of sugar. And then this is a half a teaspoon of salt. And then we're gonna mix those well. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna add to the dry mix is 1 packet of yeast. This is Fleischmann's Rapid Rise Instant Yeast. Okay, so we're just gonna mix all of these together. Okay, if you have a whisk, this works really well. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this to the side. Next, I have a half a cup of milk. The recipe says whole milk, but I have 2%. You're gonna add butter, 2 tablespoons, 1/4 a cup of honey, and 1/4 a cup of water. And then you're gonna microwave this until it's all combined. I would do maybe 30-second intervals just to make sure that you don't burn it. Okay, so that took about 1.5 minutes, and I'm just stirring it up, making sure it's evenly combined. And then I'm gonna take this thermometer, and I'm gonna check the temperature. And ideally you would want this between, the recipe says 120 and 130. And right now it's at 131 and 132. So I'm just gonna let it cool down a little bit. Sometimes I like to stir it a little bit because that can make the temperature go down a little bit. So we're at 127. We're gonna give it a little bit more time. I like to be at 125. Okay, so we are at 125. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and set it to the side. And I'm gonna get my flour mixture and I'm just gonna pour it in there. And you should see a little bit of bubbling from the yeast. And I'm gonna gently stir this. If you have a hand mixer or a KitchenAid, this would be way easier, but I just have my hand, so this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to actually take a small whisk really quickly and stir it a little bit more. I don't know that this is gonna hurt the yeast or anything. I've been doing this since I started making this, so, and it hasn't bothered it or anything. So okay, and now you're gonna start to add your extra flour. The recipe says to start adding flour in 1/2 cup intervals. So I'm just gonna add about half of this. And see where we're at. You wanna scrape the sides just to get all the flour down. Okay, and I can tell we're gonna need a little bit more, so I'm gonna add that other half a cup. Okay, you can see it's getting a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna add another half a cup. A little bit more. And this looks just about right. You want it to be able to pull from the bowl without sticking. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of flour and just sprinkle it on the clean surface. And then I'm going to hand knead. Again, if you have a KitchenAid or another mixer, then you can use that. And I'm just going to pour the dough out onto that surface. Okay. Now, I always like to have some flour in a measuring cup, just so that I can pour it on top once all the flour gets absorbed into it. And you're just gonna start kneading it. You wanna put some flour on your hand. And some of it may be sticky, you can just add some more flour to it if it is. And you wanna knead it for about 10 minutes. So now I'm gonna take a little bit of vegetable oil and put it in the same bowl. And then you're just gonna rub it around. It's okay if there's still flour in there. The main thing is you just don't want it sticking. Okay. And you can see when I press it, it bounces back a little bit, so that's how you know that it's okay to let it sit in the bowl. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit until it doubles in size. I'm gonna put a lid on it and I'm gonna put it on the stove, which is preheating right now. Okay, so this has now doubled in size. I'm gonna cut it in half, and then I'm gonna see how many balls of dough that I can get out of it. let these rise for about an hour. I was trying to do hot dog buns there, but that was kind of a fail. But the other ones look really good. Alright, well, I hope you try this. Let me know if you do.